All right, Bulls and Bears, back with another dose. It is Friday, May 30th. So this is the last Friday in the month of May here, 2025. Hope everyone is doing well and surviving and hopefully thriving in this cost of living nightmare. I mean, what else do you want to call it? California, but all 50 states, people are struggling. Surprisingly, the default rates in California aren't much higher than the rest of the nation, but a lot more people are missing their credit card payments, getting further behind, and things are about ready to get a lot worse. Now, we don't know how quickly they're going to get worse. I'm not predicting any sort of collapse, right? Unless there's a big shock moment where things just fail, where there's a missed derivative payment or something like that, where the entire banking system comes down. Outside of that, outside of some shock situation that just is unforeseen, we're going to see a steady decline in the standard of living for U.S. consumers and most of the population, which we have 70% plus now living paycheck to paycheck and not much relief in sight. In fact, it's about ready to get a lot worse. Now, one thing that could offset some of this cost of living nightmare is if we see deflation start to occur because so many people are defaulting on their loans and they're late with their payments. That could cause a massive repossession surge. So far, we're not seeing that. We're seeing those levels increase, but it's not a surge where you're going to see a collapse in prices, right? So in fact, we're seeing automobile prices go up. But today we're going to kind of switch things up here on this channel. For those of you that have been on this channel for maybe a year or more, you probably know that from time to time I try to switch up the formula to try to see if we can help the channel grow. So I'm going to talk less about the usual topics, less about the central bank, less about the interest rates, the fake money, all that stuff here. We're going to talk about more real life accounts of people and how they're getting by or not getting by or struggling to get by, and then give more real solutions, right? So if you like it, please give this video a thumbs up to let me know that you like the new twist and different in format, the way we're going to talk about things here. And hopefully we'll see the channel grow. If not, we'll just revert back to the old normal thing that we've been doing here for several years. But let's go ahead and start right here. And I want to play this clip here. This is somebody reacting to somebody else reacting to what home prices were back in 1999, folks. And this is something that a lot of us here lived through. Of course, I wasn't old enough to be looking or thinking about buying a home in 1999. But it's very interesting, and this was a show called Boy Meets World. I think I've heard of it, but I don't think it was on when I was actually paying attention or watching TV. But take a listen to this here on the home prices back then.
Over 30 years, just a trifle down payment, and a pittance of a mortgage, and 2 living parents with a pen. Who can sign?
So that clip was from Boy Meets World, and that episode aired in 1999, and I couldn't help myself, so I had to run the numbers. The show took place in Philly, and I saw that the median house price was around $80,000 in
$80,000, and they were complaining about the cost of the house.
$80,000 house. Very simple. Over 30 years, just a trifle down payment.
They're talking to the realtor there. Of course, it's a show, but I think this was accurate, though, because this person kind of looked into the numbers back then.
I had to run the numbers. The show took place in Philly, and I saw that the median house price was around $80,000 in 1999. Now, according to Pango, we're high school students without a job, so they couldn't qualify. But what about the median household income back then? It's $40,000, which is about $3,300 a month. And a 3% down payment on the median house was only $2,400. So somebody in Philly in 1999 didn't even have to save 1 month's income to put a down payment on this house. And the interest rates were around 7%, just like they are today. So with principal, interest, property taxes, insurance, and private mortgage insurance, the total payment was $750 a month to get the median house in Philly. And you're making $3,300. So that's about what, 25%? So a family making 40 grand could take care of their entire mortgage in just 1 week. And then I wanted to see, well, let's just see what happened to the prices in Philadelphia, because we know the averages around the country, but let's look at Philly. $80,000 was the median price in 1999. It's now $250,000, so below the average for the nation. But the income was $40,000 for the median household. Now it's $60,000. So
Wow. So look at that. The median price in 1999, $80,000 in that particular area, but the median income was $40,000. So the income was actually making about half of the median home price. Today, with the median home price over there, they're talking about Philadelphia, $250,000. I think it's higher now in Philadelphia, but I think that's Pennsylvania. It's actually over 400,000. So to put this into perspective, you'd have to be making 200,000 a year to be like it was in 1999, where people were average making about half of what the median home price was in that area. But let's go ahead and continue to play it
Housing
here.
price, even in Philly, went up over 200% in the last 25 years, but the income only went up 53%. So even in smaller cities, metro cities, no matter where we look, I don't think I have found a city in America where the housing and income was even close to keeping up.
No way.
Now, I don't know about y'all, but I know that for most people that I know, they don't make over $20 an hour. And if you make, let's say, $18 an hour, you don't even make $40,000 a year today in 2025. And everything is at an all-time high. So how do they expect people to survive with the prices going up, the cost of living going up, but the pay not going up?
Hey, good question. How do they expect people to survive? Well, people are asking the same question. People are working multiple jobs. People are stressed out like never before. You look around and you see people spending money, but a lot of times, and I've said this here before, a lot of times I think people are just filling the void for things that they can't spend the money on that they probably would want to. If they could buy a house, I'm sure they would not buy Starbucks every day if they could buy a house, but they know they can't buy a house. So a lot of these people, they just figure they're just going to buy other things to fill the void or to make them happy, even though they really don't have any big items that they own. Most people don't own their cars. They're making payments and they have the title, or actually they don't have the title. The lending company usually has it until you pay it off. The car's registered in their name and you're paying a monthly, not a monthly, in most cases, a yearly fee to have the vehicle registered to you and to be able to drive it on the road. But you don't own it. You don't have the title until it's paid off. And most people don't have their cars paid off, just like most people don't have their homes paid off. All right, but let's take a look at a couple other accounts here that kind of address this whole we can't afford anything situation here. And let's go over to another online content creator. I'm not sure if she's an influencer or what, but let's listen to somebody here. I believe she's from Ohio. We've talked about Ohio, how Ohio is one of the more affordable states in the U.S. Here, let's take a listen here.
No one talking about how serious the cost of living actually is. No one talking about how serious the cost of living actually is. So we pay like a really cheap amount of rent compared to like all the other rent I see. And we're a family of 6. We pay $9.50 rent. That's cheap. We're in Missouri. It's like
Missouri.
Missouri.
That's another low-cost state. The whole Rust Belt, Indiana, Ohio, go out to the corn states. They call that the Midwest. The breadbasket of America, some people call it that. Iowa, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri included in there.
Some nice new place or anything. It was actually built in 1890. My husband is working 3 jobs right now. We buy absolutely nothing.
3 jobs, people. That's just so common right now. And if it's not a job, it's a side hustle. Maybe it's part-time, maybe it's not. But the fact that people have to juggle so many jobs. All right, continue here.
Nothing that we don't need. And we actually go without a lot of things that we actually do need. I feel like if you're able to do anything that's not just surviving, then you got it good. I feel so sad that I didn't appreciate the times where we were able to actually have fun at this point. So much has changed in the past few years. Like, what? I just really, really want to know. How is everyone surviving? Is everyone working like 24/7? Because that's what my husband does. And I'm just home with my little kids all the time. It's kind of...
She's lucky she gets to stay at home. A lot of people can't have families. If you look at the younger generation, a lot of them are putting off having kids like never before. Like the birth rate has really dropped a lot.
Like depressing that we're never together as a family. So I don't know. I hope one day we can be, but it sucks.
Yes, in that video, if you look at it, it says,
why is no one talking about how serious the cost of living?
Why is no one talking about it? Oh, we're talking about it. We're talking about it here a lot. We're also talking about how we can try to get ahead and invest. A lot of people just aren't into the investing thing, but they're working a lot. People working multiple jobs. Like she said, Her husband's working multiple jobs, folks. And if things don't change, it's just going to continue to get worse. Now, we have a lot of people not paying back their loans, and that's going to really put a hole in the economy. And normally, it's people spending money, and mostly borrowed money, that makes the economy look like it's growing, right? With the GDP number and all that. We're going to talk less about that. Nobody cares about the GDP number. So that's why I'm going to try to switch things up. Nobody really cares what the number is. Maybe a few of us do. I shouldn't say nobody. A few of us do, but most people, they don't care about the number. They just want to know how they're going to get by from week to week, from month to month, and sometimes even from day to day. People are just getting by from day to day. But let's hear from a couple more people here on some information that I dug up here. Some people out there kind of talking about what the topics here on this channel are. All right, let's hear from somebody else. I like the way that this next person broke it down also. Interesting screen name, anger and autism. Okay. So, is he angry? Well, let's take a listen. I just saw the name of it. I didn't actually listen to this whole thing. It's about 3 minutes.
The cost of living in this country is currently, it's not going to be, it is currently unsustainable. And there are people that they know this, but then they'll still look at somebody else that's struggling and then tell them they're not doing good enough. I want you to imagine somebody that makes $75,000 a year. That's a pretty high up wage in terms of like top earners in this country, $75,000 a year. And we're going to go through some things.
75,000 not anything in California.
Here. This is a person with no debt outside of a car. And please don't hit me with the, you can go buy a car for, shut up, you can't, shut up, stop saying ridiculous things. An
Sorry, this guy's kind of abrupt. He says shut up.
Level decent car is $30,000. So this person who puts $200 a month into insurance and they pay 5% into their 401k, because shut up, people should be able to put money into their retirement. Because if you're not doing it now, you're never going to get to start doing it later. So after those two things come out of their paycheck and their taxes are paid, they bring home $53,850 a year from a $75,000 paycheck. Average rent in my state for a one-bedroom apartment, because an adult should be able to live by themselves, $1,700. That car payment at 6% for an entry-level, very reasonable sedan, nothing fancy, that car payment's $579 a month. Car insurance, $240 or so a month for a lot of vehicles in this day and age. You're a young person, you've got a nice job, but the insurance companies still want to screw you over. Food. You only cook at home. You never, ever go out. You only cook at home and you only eat decent quality food, because a human being should be allowed to eat decent quality food. You pay $879 a month for that. You spend $250 a month in gas. You wear and tear on your car $100 a month. $80 for your phone, $80 for your internet, $175 a month for your electricity, $70 for your water, $20 for your cash. You make $75,000 a year, and outside of a car payment, you have zero debt. Do you know how much money you have left over annually?
I'm going to say less than 5,000. We'll see what he says.
At a $75,000 wage? You do nothing. You don't own a Netflix. You don't go out on a date. You don't pay to go to a park. You don't go watch a movie. You do nothing. If you can't find it on the internet for free, you don't get to do it. If you can't cook it at home for your $800, you don't get to do it. You have $3,700 left over annually. That's like $320 a month. And there's going to be, well, that's $300. Shut up. Shut your stupid, contrarian, edgelord mouth. That's not a doctor bill, because God knows, just because
this guy must have a lot of people bashing him in comments. He's telling everybody to shut up.
We have insurance doesn't mean that we don't still pay far out the ass when we go to the doctors. People like to be entertained. They want to date. They want to. There's those of you out there that will tell somebody living like this on $75,000 a year before taxes that they are not doing what they're supposed to do, that they should get a second job, that they should get a side hustle, that they should get a better job. And the fact that you would look at somebody with no debt other than a car and say something like this to them means objectively you're a moron and you live in a fantasy world.
All right, somebody in comments on this channel said 75,000 is the new paycheck to paycheck, or 75,000 is paycheck to paycheck. Somebody else said my dad balked when I was looking at 70 to 80,000 after a decade of experience in my field, talking about his income. his dad thinks that's a great wage. It's really not. 70 to 80,000. I mean, in some states it is. His dad thinks he can get a beater car for $1,000. That's what somebody commented on the channel. All right, now here's somebody that I think fits exactly what we're talking about here in this channel, how people fill the void and they want to spend money because they don't really own anything or much. And take a listen to what he says here. Mike Mancusi is the name if you ever want to look him up here.
People are like, oh, that's a very poor financial decision. Coffee every single day, and I realize that
Just do a search. I'm gonna rewind it here. He's talking about buying coffee every day.
Starbucks to get my coffee every single day, and I realize that that's one of those things that people are like, oh, that's a very poor financial decision. So I considered trying to cut down on it, but then I realized that like right now, literally everything is a poor financial decision. Everything that we do is a poor financial decision. Putting 50% of your income towards rent is a poor financial decision. Taking out a student loan for hundreds of thousands of dollars where there's essentially no ROI whatsoever is a poor financial decision.
There could be ROI, return on investment, with a college degree. Depends on what you're studying, right? If you're studying arts or something like that, maybe not.
Breaking your ankle, horrible financial decision. You want to get sick? That's a very fiscally irresponsible thing to do, kid. I'm sorry.
Breaking your ankle is not a decision, but I get what he's saying. Could be a decision if you do something dumb. You decided to play basketball, I guess. Make that argument. Play basketball, broke your ankle, you made the decision.
Literally everything is a poor financial decision based on the definition that we have been told of a poor financial decision. So I'm just gonna enjoy my Starbucks, like whatever. And I think that's the way that like a lot of young people feel right now. Is it's like we've kind of lost the ability to build for the future. So people are just like, whatever. I'm just like, why would I save now? I'm just gonna enjoy my life because this is all gonna come crashing down at some point. So I might as well have my little Starbucks and go to Fire Festival or do whatever I want to. I've been going out to Starbucks to get my coffee every single day, and
there he goes. He said it's all going to come crashing down at some point. People have been waiting for this economy, the cost to come crashing down. They're waiting for the bubbles to burst. Of course, very common theme on this channel is, are these bubbles going to burst? How long can they keep prices inflated? How long can the policymakers keep throwing helicopter money at this thing and manipulating prices to stay high? That's what a lot of people are thinking that, or asking the question. And I think it's just interesting to hear from these people. Maybe you just get tired of seeing my face every video. Even though we show you charts and stuff like that, I thought I'd switch it up here. And we'll try to do more like this if you guys like this. But let me just go to a couple more people here that I think kind of cover pretty well what we talk about here quite frequently on this channel with the cost of living. All right, here's somebody that breaks something down that we've spoken about here a lot. When you talk about the cost of living being too high, you hear a lot of people say, especially successful people say, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Work harder, work smarter, and work harder both. You typically work smarter, start a business, etc. How many people can actually do that? We'll take a listen to how this person reacts to that type of thinking or that type of advice.
Oh, if you don't want to be poor, you can just start a business or you can invest in property.
I'm seeing ordinary people making money all the time.
Okay, so you're telling our viewers they're idiots. Why are they not making money? Because Dan thinks it's easy to become a millionaire by being an entrepreneur.
Yes, that is possible. That is going to help an individual. But when we're talking about society collectively, if everybody just left their jobs to start a business or to become property investors, the economy would collapse. So if everybody does that, who do you think is going to care for you in the hospitals? Because the nurses have all up and left because they're going to go start a business. And who's going to teach your children? Because all the teachers have left because they're going to start a business. See how that doesn't work? You shouldn't just be focused on individuals. You should be focusing on society.
Society as a whole is what she's going to say.
As a whole.
But to say that there's a cost of living crisis, I think is a little bit over the top. The cost of living crisis is self-inflicted. It is not.
This guy says there's no cost of living crisis. You're just not working smart enough. You're not being an entrepreneur is what he's saying.
Not because of inflation and all these other things that are going on.
So this is a classic example of, if it doesn't affect me, then it's not happening. There is a cost of living crisis. It's not a figment of our imagination. In 2020, rents surged by 80%. Over the past 50 years, that has never happened. We are experiencing this for the first time. If that's not a cost of living crisis, I don't know what is. What shits me is when people say...
All right, there we go. Did I not show her picture? Did I not show it?
Oh, if you don't want to be poor, you can just start a business or you can invest in property.
I'm seeing ordinary people making money all the time.
Okay, so you're telling our viewers they're idiots. Why are they not making money? Because Dan thinks it's easy to become a millionaire by being an entrepreneur.
Yes, that is possible. That is going to help.
Okay, so you already heard the audio. I just want to show you who is saying that so you can get a picture, get a visual. So, folks, what do you think about this? People are scraping by. It's the top 10% that's out there. Like the people that we're talking about, people just need to be an entrepreneur. It's easy to say that when you're in the top 10%. I know some top 10%ers. I talk to people every day at my job, and some of them are doing better than ever. I mean, raking in the money. Got a good friend that makes $200K a year as a merchant services person, credit card processing, $250,000 a year easily. Top 10 centers are doing well. If you're working in the banking system or somewhere, making a lot of money, you're probably making, I'd say the top 10% right now. I'd have to look it up. If you're making 120K, I believe that might put you in the top 10%. Let me just look that up because I don't like to make guesses here because then people will beat me up down in comments. Income in US to be top 10%. How much? Investopedia. How much? They're telling us here. Sorry, I usually have this pulled up here, but I thought I would just wrap this up with this here. Okay, it's actually higher than I thought. To be top 10%, top earners across the U.S. earn at least six figures with an average income of over $160,000 for those in the top 10%. That was up 2021. Top 1% need to make $1 million annually to be in the top 1%. Interesting, folks. So what do you think about this? How are you getting by? Are you working multiple jobs? Are you doing okay? Are you in the top 10%? Please let me know where you think you're at. I don't think I'm in the top 10%. If it's 160,000, which I know it's changed, we'll get the correct number next report. I think the most I made in the last 3 years was probably investing and everything else, and this is gross before taxes and everything, about 145,000, and that's with a good year. Adding up everything, YouTube as a creator, the regular job, investing, the side hustles. I sell t-shirts online. I design stickers, t-shirts, stuff like that. Other side hustles too. Music a little bit, not much. Adding it all up, I think maybe about 140 to 150, somewhere in there. But that's gross. After taxes, everything else, it's still scraping by here in California. What do you think about this, people? Let me know down in the comments. Everybody keep stacking. Thanks for being here. Bye for now. Peace.